Hello class, today we will be focusing on biogenesis and Redi's experiment. So let's go ahead and begin. The principle of biogenesis, spelled biogenesis, is, it basically states that all living things come from other living things. So go ahead and do this in a different color. All living things come from other living things. You may want to take notes. And this principle is widely used today, while back in the during the 17th century and before, it was widely thought that living things came from a process called spontaneous generation. Spontaneous generation. And basically, this was when that they thought that living things could arise from non-living things. So living things could arise from non-living things. So this was what was thought during the 17th century and before. And so this seemed to basically explain why maggots appeared on rotting meat and why fish appeared in ponds that had been dry the previous season. People also thought that mud might have given rise to the fish, which today seems a little bit, crazy. So, in attempting to learn more about the process of spontaneous generation, scientists basically just performed controlled experiments. As you learn about these experiments, make sure you pay attention to the experimental design. So let's go ahead and get started. So Redi's experiment. So, as you guys all know, flies have often been viewed as pesky creatures. Most people are, too busy trying to get rid of the flies to even think about studying them. However, in the middle of the 17th century, the Italian scientist Francesco Redi from 1626 to 1697, Francesco Redi noticed and described the different developmental forms of flies. Redi observed that tiny worm-like maggots turn into sturdy oval cases, from which flies eventually emerge. He also observed that maggots seemed to appear where adult flies had previously landed. These observations led Redi to question the commonly held belief that flies were generated spontaneously from rotting meat. I don't think so. Not in this day and age. So he conducted an experiment, and let's go ahead and talk about this experiment. So he had 4 jars. There's one jar, and this is the other jar, Okay, and he put rotting meat in both of these. So pretend like this is the rotting meat. This is the rotting meat. This is rotting meat. He put rotting meat in both of them. And what he did was he put a covering on 2 of the jars, a net covering. These are supposed to represent the net coverings. I know I'm not artistic, so let's not judge, but they represent the net coverings. And so after a few days, flies started coming and, everything started getting nasty. So by the way, this is the control group. I was supposed to mention that before. This is the experimental. Okay, remember, these have the nets, these two jars, experimental group. So after a few days, the flies came, pretend these are the flies, just buzz, 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 and, well, in here, after a few days, there were some maggots in the uncovered jars. I'm not sure. But in the covered jars, all there were flies on top wanting to get the meat, but no way to get them. So the flies in the jars that were uncovered had flies. No jars, no flies. Covers, no flies. So that's how basically it went. And so basically, after a few days, maggots were living in the meat and the open jars, but the net-covered jars remained free of the maggots. However, this led to that Redi's experiment showed convincingly that flies came only from eggs laid by other flies. Then, basically, Redi's hypothesis was confirmed, and a major blow was struck against the hypothesis of spontaneous generation. So this is basically one of the first experiments that tried to prove spontaneous generation wrong. So we can go ahead and conclude our lesson. Thanks for listening. I hope you will tune into my other videos. Thanks. Have a great day.